Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." Original OP is Sugar Drenched, posted to r/entitled People, October 13th, 2025. My husband's coworker expected me to film her wedding for free, then dragged my name through his office when I refused. I'm a 29 female videographer. I do weddings, small events, and promo videos for local businesses. My husband, 34, works at an architecture firm, and one of his coworkers, I'll call her Rachel, got married on last month, Sunday, September 28th. Rachel told me about her wedding early last month. We met each other at an office barbecue my husband's firm was hosting. She came over, very friendly, and said, "Oh my god, I just found out you do wedding videos! You have to do mine! It'll be so nice to have someone I already know behind the camera." I smiled and told her, sure, I'd love to send her my rate sheet. My prices are normal for the area, $1,800 for a full day shoot, editing, and a highlight reel. She smiled, said she'd check it out, and that was it. A week later, she texted me saying, "Wait, I thought since we're basically family through your husband's job, you'd give me a friend discount or maybe do it as a gift?" Emoji with hearts. I told her nicely that I don't mix personal or work connections with free jobs. I've seen how messy that gets, especially with people connected to my husband's office. She read it and didn't reply. Days passed and my husband came home from work looking uncomfortable. He said, "Hey, just as a heads up, that Rachel's been telling people you're doing her wedding video." I was stunned because he knew I hadn't agreed to anything. I texted her asking why she'd say that. And she replied, "Oh, I just assumed you changed your mind. I've been so stressed, I figured you'd understand." I told her clearly that I wasn't available that weekend and had already booked another client. She just said, "Okay, but I really hope you reconsider." The wedding day, on the last Saturday of September 28th at 7:10 a.m., my phone starts ringing non-stop. It was Rachel. When I finally picked up, she was crying and yelling that her videographer had canceled at the last minute and she needed me to come through for her. I told her I had another client and couldn't just abandon them. She completely lost it, accusing me of being heartless and ungrateful after she'd always been so nice to me and my husband. I told her this was exactly why I don't mix work and personal connections, and I hung up. I blocked her number right after. My husband did end up going to the wedding for a few hours since it was a coworker event and he didn't want to make things more awkward at work. He said it was tense and Rachel barely acknowledged him. This past week, HR called my husband into a meeting. Turns out Rachel emailed them claiming I had agreed to film her wedding and then backed out last minute, causing her to lose precious memories. She even implied that I was somehow representing his firm because we're married. My husband had to explain the whole story to HR, and thankfully, they believed him. But it was still embarrassing for both of us. It's shocking that Rachel didn't stop at that. She made a Facebook post that night complaining about unprofessional videographers and tagged my business page. I had to contact Facebook to get it removed. Apparently, people in my husband's office are acting weird around him, like I'm the stuck-up wife who refused to help. I've worked hard to build my name and reputation, and I'm furious that someone's entitlement could threaten that, all because she didn't want to pay for a service. Some people really think knowing someone equals owning them. Too long didn't read, my husband's coworker told everyone I was filming her wedding even though I never agreed, then tried to destroy my reputation when I refused to do it for free. My husband got dragged into HR over it this past Tuesday. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. If I was your husband, I would file a complaint with HR about Rachel's harassment. It's as simple as that. OP responds, he's done that already, and HR has warned her to stop any further actions regarding the matter or it'll be handed over to a legal counsel, court, which she'll definitely be penalized. Commenter 2. File a suit for defamation. Did you screenshot the review on Facebook? This is actually one of the few rare times where Reddit is actually correct in going after a civil suit for defamation. And I'm speaking from experience here. OP responds, yeah, but my husband says I should just keep it safe for now, in case the matter escalates, since the matter is still under the HR custody. Commenter 3. Did she really have her own videographer that canceled last minute, or was that just another manipulation ploy to force you to do it for free? Keep all your proof of conversations between you and her if things don't settle down for you in your husband's workplace. Then take appropriate actions to shut that entitled asshole down. OP responds, she's just a confused soul trying to make sense of a world that never made sense to her. Proof are intact. So, one of the things that would make a defamation case suit stick is someone knowingly spreading false information to harm the potential revenue of a business. If the information is true, then it would probably end up, dying out in mediation, or potentially even getting shut down by an anti-SLAPP measure, if the state has those kind of provisions in place. But this is an actual circumstance where a defamation suit could actually have potential of making it not only to court, but a judgment ruling in OP's favor, because this is someone who is knowingly spreading false information about the business with the intent to harm it. And because there are monetary damages that can be slapped atop of it as potential proof for the damage that's being caused by the defamatory statements, well, yeah. Can you tell I have a history with this? Update, October 15th, 2025, 2 days later. Update, my husband's coworker who wanted me to film her wedding for free finally apologized. Hey everyone, I posted a while back about my husband's coworker Rachel who had expected me to film her wedding for free, then dragged my name through his office and even HR when I refused. I wanted to give a quick update since a few people requested for it. So, Rachel actually apologized. Apparently, after HR looked into everything and my husband explained the full story, with messages to back it up, they made it clear she'd crossed some serious lines. This morning, she sent my husband an email owning up to it. She said she realized she'd been unprofessional, that she made assumptions, and that she never should have told anyone I was filming her wedding before I'd agreed. She also admitted that posting about my business on Facebook was out of line, and she'd taken it down. She told my husband she'd clarify things with a few coworkers who had heard her side of the story too. Honestly, I didn't expect her to apologize at all, so that was surprising. I'm still not thrilled about the damage control we had to do, but I appreciate that she at least took responsibility instead of doubling down. Hopefully this is the end of it. Thanks again to everyone who backed me up in the original post. Y'all made me feel so much less crazy about standing my ground. So the only reason why she took accountability is more than likely because someone spelled out how screwed she could potentially be. Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. Someone probably explained to her she could be sued for defamation. OP responds, I think so. She just came back to her senses. Commenter 2. I would get your husband to ask a couple of colleagues if she actually did clarify the situation with them as she claims she did. After all, she did lie wildly in the first place. Why would anyone trust her when she says she's rectified things at work? Great if she did actually take responsibility. No harm in making sure. Trust, but verify. Commenter 3. People have a great capacity of lying to themselves. It took HR's pressure for her to step back and get a clear look at herself. I am of the opinion that OP's husband's coworker is only apologizing because she got caught and called out for it. I am also of the obvious, in my opinion, that there was no other videographer on payroll, that she lied about that to try to manipulate OP, and there's a reason why out of both videographers, the one who apparently canceled and the one who is being asked to work for free, that OP was the one that was blasted on Facebook and not the other company, because that's who should have been targeted by that post, was the videographer that canceled, if there was one. Also, I love the line and sentiment of people who think they know you think they own you. It's just a perfectly condensed way to put all forms of entitlement in place. It's just a nice cherry on top. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is, what even is my life 69, posted to r/today I fucked up December 31st, 2022. Today I fucked up by not realizing I was in a committed relationship while I was being dumped. I was just dumped a couple of hours ago, but it didn't go how I thought it was supposed to go. In my view, I've been seeing this guy for a couple of months casually. Sometimes we see each other 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. We text, but nothing in depth. We hang out, hook up, sometimes spend the night, and rinse and repeat. I'm paraphrasing what happened today. He wanted to talk, so I met him for breakfast today at his place. He was very apologetic and sad, and said, "This has been great getting to know you, but I don't think this is working out anymore." I basically said, okay, do you still want to have breakfast? In my head, I was like, he's ending the casual relationship. It's fine because we had this talk in the beginning about either of us ending it whenever. He just kept looking at me while we were eating, and finally he said, you know you don't have to hold it in. It's okay to be sad. I was confused. So I said, why would I be sad? I enjoyed my time with you. It's ended. He then said, well, we were in a relationship, so it's not like ending a hookup. This is where I fucked up. I said, yeah, but it was a casual relationship. He said, what do you mean casual? We've been exclusive for over 3 months now. No, we haven't. We had never had a talk about being exclusive. We literally only met up to do fun activities and then hook up. When did we decide we were exclusive? My face showed that this was brand new information to me. He said, we kept spending time together. It was implied that we were exclusive. No, it wasn't. And I told him that. I'm laughing because this is just purified cringe. It's the only outlet I have right now. He then asked if I had been seeing other people, to where I was just silent, which basically answered it for him. Oh. He started yelling and getting angry because I wouldn't answer his question, but I literally felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. It was too much information to process at once. I left because he was now saying I cheated on him. He's blowing up my phone, saying that we have to talk because he's been loyal. Well, I haven't. I just don't even know what to say. Like what? We never had a talk about exclusivity. Too long didn't read. I was hooking up with a guy. He thought we were exclusive. I thought it was casual. He dumped me and then got mad that I cheated on him while we were exclusive. We never had a talk about being exclusive. I'm now hiding from him because he wants to talk. Top comments. Dracoi. Communication is apparently a superpower nowadays. User Robbie R comments, this is the perfect scenario for a Seinfeld episode. Raging Flower 580 comments, and George is definitely the man in this scenario. Moonlit Nights comments, I'd just text him. Tell him there's nothing to talk about, and in his next relationship, he should make it clear and not think because he thinks something is implied that it is. Then block him. Life is too short for drama. Today I fucked update, months later, May 25th, 2023. I would be very surprised if this post wasn't deleted, but I made a post a few months ago about finding out I was in a committed relationship while being dumped. The post was deleted, and I honestly forgot about making it. Basically, in the original post, I thought I had a friends with benefits situation with a friend, but he thought it was something more. And when he was dumping me, I found out he thought we were exclusive for 3 months, and that us being in a relationship was implied, though we had never talked about being anything other than casual. Just to answer some questions. A. How were we able to see each other so much? We're college students. Our apartments are literally a street apart. We could go over to each other's all the time, whenever we wanted. B. What was the relationship like? We would literally text each other other memes or funny things or ask when the person was free to hook up. There was no in-depth convos, dates, or anything like that. Sometimes we would hook up multiple times a week, other times once in 2 weeks. C. What were the fun activities? Movies, bowling, indoor golf, and just walking on a trail, etc. We're in college and not rich. D. Was what was expected discussed? Yes, in detail. Before we started a sexual relationship, we discussed what we expected, the rules, and what we wanted, and what we would do if someone changed their mind. We both wrote the rules down in our phones, and the biggest rule was to communicate if something changed for you. E. How many people were you hooking up with? One other person, believe it or don't, but I had him and another person. If one was busy, another was usually available. F. Did he know you were hooking up with other people? I told him early on I was talking/hooking up with another person, but I didn't explicitly tell him who that person was. I used protection, and I have been tested for both. After me leaving his apartment, after the initial post, we didn't talk for months. I did a semester abroad, and he did an internship in another city. When we were both on the same campus again, I messaged him to discuss things. I asked him, did he really think we were in a committed relationship? He said no. Though he was down for friends with benefits, once he saw me talking to a guy at a bar, he got jealous and didn't want me talking to anyone else. Why did he act like we were in a committed relationship? Because he wanted to see my reaction if I was hurt that he was ending it. Then he would have changed his mind and gave it another chance, but exclusively this time. Was he hooking up with other people too? Yes. So he was never exclusive with me and made up the relationship angle as a lie. I honestly panicked in that initial conversation and I apologized if I hurt him in any way, but until that point, I thought we had both been transparent with each other. Turns out, he didn't really like the idea of me hooking up with anyone else but him and made up this committed relationship. We're now good and back to being platonic friends. I'm sorry? Too long didn't read, friends with benefits dumped me and made me think he thought we were in a committed relationship. Turns out feelings on his end had changed and he didn't want me seeing other people. We talked it out and are now platonic friends. Edit. We barely see each other now. I haven't hooked up with him since before the breakup convo, and didn't ever plan to do it again since I know there were feelings on his end that I didn't reciprocate. I can see what he did was manipulative, but I don't really care to get an apology from him. I'll just maintain my distance. I appreciate the concern though. I don't think I could ever be in a situation where I could accept a platonic friendship from someone who previously lied to me about them thinking we were in a committed relationship, for then he yelled at me for knowing that was not the case and proceeded to berate me on that aspect, and then on top of that admitted later on he lied to me about that specifically to manipulate me to get my reaction to see if he could then coax me into a relationship with him, but then was disappointed to find out that I didn't share the same emotions, and that he was now experiencing jealousy seeing that I was not being committed to him. I could not accept a platonic friendship with that because there is a lot of manipulation and just a lot of red flags, both on the relationship side and on the friendship side, because I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do in the future. So yeah, personally, for me, I'd pass on that. This post was collected by Glumcraft4652. The original OP is Secret Anonymous 12, posted to r/amITheAsshole, July 21st, 2023. Am I the asshole for saying I would stay at my mom's if I had to share a room with babies? I'm 16 female. My parents split up before I was born. Custody is I live with my dad most of the time, and my mom every other weekend, plus random staying with her if I want. Recently, my dad got engaged to Hannah, and she and her kids are moving in. Hannah's kids' ages are 9, 7, 2, 2, and 2. She's widowed, so they live with her full time. This made room arrangements a bit awkward, since there's only 3 kids' bedrooms to go around. Dad and Hannah talked it over last night without consulting anybody, and Hannah came over this morning to announce with my dad what they decided. Apparently, they want 7 and 9 to each have their own rooms, and me to share with the triplets because my room is significantly bigger than the others and I don't stay there full time. I said their plan was stupid. They wanted me to share with 3 toddlers. They said they didn't want me to move, but it was the biggest room, so other people should share. I said I didn't care if I switched rooms, because the more logical move would be to have the triplets in the big room, 7 and 9 share, and I get my own. I said I'd take the smallest one, until I move out. They said it would be more work to move my things to another room, and their idea was more practical. Then asked why I was so pressed, since I don't even live here full time. It's literally every other weekend, which means out of 2 weeks, 2 days are spent not there. Hannah knows what she's doing. I said not staying in the other room 4 days a month was a sorry excuse to land me with a bunch of toddlers, and if they seriously planned on doing it to me, I'd make the custody arrangement change, and I'd stay with my mom for the most part. I know she doesn't mind because both of them remind me I could stay with her whenever I wanted. This made Hannah cry because she just wants her family to blend together nicely, and apparently I was ruining her plans. This made Dad mad at me, and I'm not allowed to talk to Hannah until she forgives me. I didn't know this meant so much to them, but I'm still saying I'll stay with Mom longer if I have to share with toddlers. But my dad made me feel a bit guilty, so am I the asshole? Hannah's judgment is 100% clouding the father's, and Hannah 100% just wants a 16-year-old free babysitter to look after her kids and make things easier for her. That's why she's so pressed and so upset, because her plan to get a free babysitter is falling through. And she probably didn't realize that OP could literally just walk away at any given point. And now she's mad about that. And now she's leveraging that. And OP's father is to head over heels to put one and one together and realize what's going on. Judgment, not the asshole. Top and relevant comments. User Cake Eating Rabbit comments. Not the asshole. They know what they're doing to you. They only act like they don't. You sharing with the triplets makes you care for them at night and as soon as their bedtime begins. It's not practical at all. Where should you hang out between their and your bedtime? Living room with them? I would assume Hannah wants you to leave and your dad either wants you to babysit or simply doesn't actually care if you're there, but they want you to be the bad guy. User P-Avatar comments, this is what I think too. Hannah wants OP to move out, so she insists OP share her room with 3 toddlers. Her fake crying and hurt feelings are tactics to manipulate OP's father. Cake Eating Rabbit responds, I don't think any adult man is naive enough to think a teen with 3 toddlers is practical for the teen at all. 4 kids in one room can only be cramped. OP would not be able to have friends over, ever, etc., etc. It would be not much different as OP having no room and sleeping on the living room couch. So we're looking at either Hannah wanted free babysitter or Hannah's purposely trying to ice OP out of the equation. User Just Shy Avocado comments, not the asshole. Hannah thinks the best way for her family to blend together nicely is to instantly make her stepdaughter the free babysitter for her 3 toddlers. Dang, at least the evil stepmother waited till Cinderella's father died, not just made her a free maid instantly. Also, your dad kinda sucks. Who in their right mind would want to share a room with 3 toddlers, let alone someone that's almost an adult? He's favorizing, that's not a word, his stepkids over his bio daughter to keep Hannah happy. And he's willing to make you sacrifice things like your privacy. Although honestly, I have nowhere to even complain on the favorizing thing, because I do little word amalgamations like that all the goddamn time, so I get it. User Lacelia responds, I know, right? They're her toddlers. Move them all into the master bedroom until OP can move out then. I bet you anything the master bedroom is bigger than OP's room, and then Hannah can take care of her own kids. User P-Avatar comments, not the asshole. This room arrangement is insane. How will you get any quiet and privacy for studying? What about privacy during your menses? The 2-year-olds will get into all your belongings and possibly damage them. Their diapers will smell. I think Hannah is being sneaky and manipulative. She intends to push you out of your home by making you share your room with 3 toddlers. Her crying and hurt feelings are more manipulative tactics to turn your father against you. And it looks like it's working. You don't owe Hannah or your father any apologies. Also, when your father wants you to babysit Hannah's kids, as I'm sure he will, you have the right to refuse. Talk with your mother about this and see if you can stay with her permanently. User Hygh on the toilet, who was downvoted, comments, there's a lot to unpack here. The knee-jerk reaction so far has been disappointing, but also not unexpected, given the age/experience of the average Redditor. You're also 16, so I can almost guarantee there's a fair amount of burying the lead happening with the story, with some liberal usage of hyperbole. Yes, I know it's hyperbole, but a part of me kind of just wants to make that voice pronounce it that way, so stay out of the comments. Let me have this. Regardless, I'll try to break this down as best I can, so we'll start with the facts. 1, your name isn't on the title, and you don't pay the note. You're free to communicate your concerns instead of making demands and drawing lines in the sand, but at the end of the day, it's your dad's call. 2, you don't get to arbitrarily change custody agreements. That's not how it works. 3, it's been you and your dad for so long that the thought of you having to share him with someone else and their kids probably makes you mad. And I can guarantee there's probably a lot of pent-up resentment and anger that's been building up for a while, and it's now manifested itself in the form of this argument over living arrangements for all the kids. You're angry about this, but you're not angry about the living arrangements. 4, blending families is a huge change. It's hard, and it's not just hard for you, it's hard for everyone. And 5, regarding living arrangements, if I look at it objectively, I think Hannah's idea is that she doesn't want to split up the triplets, which makes sense to me. I'm a twin. There's 3 of them, so they're going to need more space. This is just common sense. Regarding a solution, I think since you're the oldest and you're at a point in your life where privacy is really, really important to you, that the 7 and 9-year-old can share a room and you should have your own room. Then what the fuck is your comment about? While I don't think you're the asshole is warranted, I do think that how you're handling this isn't really making the transition any easier. No assholes here. What the fuck was this entire comment about? It's like you had chocolate milk in a wine glass and you were swirling around pretending you were fancy while you typed up this bullshit. Dude, the whole argument is based on the fact of I, as a 16-year-old, don't want to share my room with 3 fucking triplets, and they're forcing me to do that. Your solution is one of the ones that OP actually presented forward as one they would be comfortable with. Your entire argument that OP is jealous, but the fact that she has to now share her dad, isn't anywhere fucking relevant to the idea of OP is now being forced to babysit triplets or leave. And by the way, yes, a 16-year-old kind of can arbitrarily change the custody agreement because they can petition the courts, and the courts will oftentimes side with the 16-year-old for what their best interests are. And I don't think a 16-year-old sharing a room with 3 triplets is going to necessarily be within their best interests. It's not a fucking knee-jerk reaction, you tonsil stone gargler. It's just literally a teenager that doesn't want to share a room with 3 triplets. Good God, man. Stop trying to make this about her being jealous of the family dynamic changing. It's very clear she doesn't have a problem with Hannah existing. It's what Hannah's trying to enforce upon her and that her dad's following in tow with it. Apologies for that intermission there. That comment really pissed me off. Anyways, Perfect Pomelo 3, not the asshole. They aren't wanting the family to blend, they're wanting a free babysitter. Go to your mom's house. Updates from the main post. Update 1. I'm at my mom's house at least for the weekend while the adults try to work things out, but my mom said I was welcome to live with her full time, and if I really wanted, we could change the custody agreement. Smiley face. Also, thank you for all the replies. I really wasn't expecting this to blow up as much as it did. LOL. Update 2, because somehow I'm still getting responses to this. Everyone talked, but my dad and Hannah are staying with their decision, and I've decided to move to my mom's long term. And we're going to switch the custody around, so I'll only see my dad every other weekend. And I'm just gonna sleep on the couch when I'm there. Obviously nothing is set yet, but that's what we're gonna do. And thanks everyone for being so nice. Haha. Final update. 1 year, 3 months later. I still get messages here. I just found this account again. Haha. So I thought I'd update whoever sees this LOL. I still live with my mom, and I love it here. Hannah openly dislikes me, so I don't even stay for weekends anymore at my dad's house. We call sometimes, but it's what it is, I guess. Hannah's kids are fine, but I only see them on holidays. Also, Hannah's pregnant again. 7 and 9, now 8 and 10, are going to share a room. So I guess it wasn't too much work in the first place. She just hated me. LOL. While I do like the babysitting theory, I am kind of left with the impression that Hannah just wanted it to be her kids in her new husband's life, and knew, or found out about the custody arrangement and thought that she could probably push OP out and away and make room for the new future. But it is incredibly fucking disappointing that the father was just willing to throw his daughter out to the curb like that, just at a moment's notice for Hannah. Throughout that entire process, he never once thought, Hannah is kind of pushing my daughter into a position where she's going to move out of my life, and that's something I'm not okay with. And instead, he's now in a position where, well, at least she calls sometimes. Like, you really dropped the ball on that one. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is cute as ducks, posted to r/legal advice and r/pro revenge. Originally posted October 11th, 2018. I, 27 female, am being asked to use my personal computer and download a tracker for work. Hello. As the post states, I am a 27-year-old family nurse practitioner in Virginia. I work in private practice, think family doctor, and my company, from the beginning, has required me to use my own personal computer. When I was hired, I wasn't told about that. But instead, on the first day, they told me to bring it and use it daily as it needs to go in with me to see the patients. I think this is crazy for a variety of reasons. Lots of wear/tear that I'm not compensated with. The bringing back to forth, risk of losing it or it being stolen, patients' records on my personal computer, sick people getting germs on my computer, and on and on. I have been at this position for 5 months, and so far the mousepad has stopped working because my hands are always wet with hand sanitizer. So then, I had to buy a wireless mouse. I have a nice computer, and I hate that it's being destroyed like this. Today, I have strep. Strep, as an adult, is terrible. I told my boss I could either stay home or stay and work at home, clearing lab results, etc. That night on the phone, she said, yes, please work from home. First thing this morning, they wanted me to install a timer to my personal computer that allows the practice to see how much time is being spent in each chart. For billing purposes, they say. It is a Google Chrome timer extension. I told them that I would be more than happy to use that on a work computer. We have a few desktops, but I was not comfortable downloading a timer on my home computer. She said, okay, but was clearly mad. Then 5 minutes later, had her assistant call me and tell me to stop working for the day since I wouldn't install the timer and that I was now only allowed to use a desktop at work. This is on top of the fact that I have to clock in/clock out on an app on my phone that tracks my GPS. Yes, I have a master's degree and have to clock in/out even for lunch. During the entire time it is on, GPS is tracked. So listen, I know I need a new job, but is this legal? How do I approach this? I am now going to have to use sick/vacation time that I wasn't planning on using. I think I should be paid for my time today. Relevant comments, Illuminator 007. As a side note, I would be extremely worried about the liability of having patient information on your personal laptop. This alone would give me pause. Opie responds, I know, I go to great lengths to keep my laptop safe related to it having patient information on it. They do require me to send emails with patient information via Gmail, and they keep a ton of patient info on Google Drive, so I feel like my computer is the least of the worries. User Gelling comments, former HIPAA security officer here to warn you that HIPAA is not only the responsibility of the practice, but also your responsibility. Not only are you responsible, but you personally can be fined for violations. The fines can be quite severe, so please take this into consideration. User T-Savior comments, sorry, but do you know if they've done this? Link to a Google support article about setting up a business Gmail account. Do they have you using your personal Gmail account, or do they have business accounts set up for everyone to use? If they're using your personal account for stuff, holy fucking shit! OP responds, they had me make a Gmail account that I use just for work. T-Savior responds, just a regular old, run-of-the-mill, brand new standard user account? User the letter QWERTY responds, yeah. If you're trying to stop the hippo from running, I think you just did the opposite of that. OP responds to the Gmail link. I reviewed that link. That's not what we are using. It is just a regular Gmail and regular Google Drive. User T-Savior comments, so basically, this just turned into one of those situations where someone in management who wanted to save a few $100 potentially cost their practice a couple $100,000. User the letter QWERTY comments on their own, quote, I work in a private practice, think family doctor, and the company from the beginning has required me to use my own personal computer. When I was hired, I wasn't told about that, but instead, on the first day, they told me to bring it and use it daily as... God damn it. Why'd I stumble on that one? As it needs to go in with me to see the patients, end quote. Hi, I'm Harry the HIPAA Hippo, and I have an important announcement, but instead of an announcement, it's just going to be me screaming in horror, running through the wall, and off into the horizon. Ah! Crash. Ah! Where do you live? OP responds, yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I will say I have never worked for a company that was so casual about breaking HIPAA rules/regulations. I am in Virginia. Update. Posted on Pro Revenge, November 15th, 2018. 1 month later. Shitty employers get a nice surprise after I leave. Okay, so I worked for a small family doctor's office, my first job out of school. I always wanted to do right by my patients. All these employers wanted to do was make money. No concern for employees who drop like flies and patients who were constantly mad. Instead of actually caring about the patient's concerns, they spent more time micromanaging staff to the point where they even put timers on our computers in a GPS app on our phone that functioned as a punch clock. They even had managers monitor security cameras to make sure everyone was slaving away. None of us had workspaces, and doing simple things like taking breaks or listening to music were not allowed. Clearly, if we had time to be human, we couldn't possibly be working hard enough. The owners would never spend money. They didn't buy paper towels. Our bathrooms did not have soap. In a doctor's office? We didn't have water or even cups. There was no coffee or break room. People ate lunch in their cars alone because there was no space or utensils. We also had to pay for our own training because they would offer to cover it and then make getting reimbursed really hard. But that is just the beginning. They also cut corners when it came to patient safety and privacy. They were too cheap to buy masks for providers for when patients came in with diseases like tuberculosis. When I asked about this, they told me I was being a baby. Lastly, they required providers to use personal computers for tasks involving patient data, a major HIPAA violation. Once again, they told me I was wrong when I brought it up. By the way, these are the same personal computers that they put timers on. Now, for the fun part. One of the owner's favorite employees was pregnant. The owners wanted to have a party for her, but spend no money. How would they do it? Well, they knew I had a good relationship with pharmaceutical reps. It just so happened that I had one coming on that Monday. The baby shower was scheduled for Friday. Now, the pharmaceutical reps usually brought lunch for everyone and taught about the newest drug. They also brought samples and coupons for the patients. So, cheap owners had a grand plan. Move the baby shower to Monday so that the pharmaceutical rep brings lunch for everyone and they won't have to buy it. They even told me to switch the order from my usual Chick-fil-A to some fancy vegetarian restaurant because they were vegetarian. I ended up quitting one day before. The drug rep called my cell phone and asked about the lunch. He knew it was a baby shower and thought it was weird. I agreed and canceled the lunch. Did not tell the owners. I wish I could see their faces when the free food wasn't showing up. A day or two after I left, 2 other employees quit, and more will follow soon. I also reported them to the Board of Health and HIPAA. Their day will come soon. Hashtag Count of Monte Cristo. That's actually a pretty apt comparison for this revenge scenario. Hopefully OP was able to get out of this situation without having HIPAA cracking down on them additionally, because it sounds like they were just in a completely abusive workplace environment. Also, I do love the casual mention of the fact that a pharmaceutical rep would just show up at the office to show the latest drug. Like, I know that happens. I know this is very common practice, but it's still something where every time that I'm reminded of it, I'm just kind of left feeling gross inside. Just casually, oh yeah, the pharmaceutical guy is showing up to buy us lunch and push the next drug we should be selling to our patients. That's a comforting thought. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those 2 are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.